Special coverage of Winthrop's run in the NCAA Tournament is presented in part by Southpaw Screen Printing and Embroidery. We have solutions for all your screen printing needs.
Sunday night, Winthrop and their 67 rivals lucky enough to earn a berth in the NCAA Tournament. Find out who, where, and when they play in the Big Dance. This is old hat for Winthrop, their 10th appearance in the NCAA Tournament. Mike, early on the games in the Big Dance, they were lopsided, but things started to get interesting late in Greg Marshall's tenure.
And it really started in the 05 season when the Eagles played Gonzaga. That was a 3-14 game. Eagles were the 14 seed. 22 points in that game for Terrell Martin. A lot of Eagles remember that game. Eagles actually led at the half in that game by 2 points, but then they ended up falling by 10 points. The next year, against Tennessee, that was the 2-15 game. Winthrop has the 15. That one can be categorized really in a quick phrase: heartbreaker. Chris Lofton hits that corner three with the game tied, less than 3 seconds to go in that game. And Winthrop really felt like they had a chance to win that game. But that really had motivation for the next year, and that was that 06-07 team, which really cemented Winthrop's legacy.
That was the season the Eagles ended up 29-5. They ran the table in the Big South Conference, and when they got to the NCAA Tournament, the mantra was unfinished business. And indeed, they would finish the business. They opened up a big lead over Notre Dame, but Mike, it wouldn't hold.
It didn't hold. In fact, the Eagles in that game had a huge lift from Terrell Martin. They had great guard play by Chris Gaynor. They ran their favorite play of all time, Jacksonville, early and later in that game. Notre Dame made that charge, but then they came back, and Greg Marshall, the head coach of the Eagles that year, very fond memories from that win over Notre Dame.
The 2-point deficit became a 10-point victory, and I still remember DeAndre jumping on the sidelines with Jason Colleen and the guys and Kyle Moore. What a wonderful picture that is in my memory.
There was great celebration after Winthrop's first ever NCAA tournament win, but the work wasn't done. The Eagles would go on to play Oregon, and they played very competitively. A tight game for most of the first half, but the Ducks wore down the Eagles and Aaron Brooks, who put together a pretty nice NBA career, outlasted Winthrop. It was a game to remember, but Mike, it wasn't the end of the NCAA tournament. It was the end of Winthrop's Greg Marshall era.
Right, and then it ushered in the Randy Peel era. And that first year for Randy Peel, the Eagles, even though they were in the East region, went out west to Denver, and they took on Washington State, a team that was coached by Tony Bennett, who's now at the University of Virginia. And that was another situation where the Eagles were pretty close in the first half, but then a big second half by the Cougars really kind of stretched things out a little bit.
Winthrop's Chris Gaynor in his final game as an Eagle, now an Eagle Hall of Famer, scored 1,000 points for his career at the end, but there was still one more berth to go.
That's right, Dave. 2010, the last time the Eagles went to the Big Dance, they played Arkansas Pine Bluff in Dayton. That was the play-in game, which is now 4 games, but that was still when it was just the one game. And it was an interesting game because, again, it was kind of helter-skelter early on. Arkansas Pine Bluff had a big second half in that game, and that team, the last one to make it to the NCAA tournament for Winthrop.
Yeah, Winthrop just couldn't shoot the ball in that game. Nothing would go down, and who knew at the time it would be such a long time before they got back to the Big Dance. But Pat Kelsey's team been knocking on the door the last several seasons, and here they are in the Big Dance.
And it should be an exciting time for the Eagles, Dave. This team has really captured the hearts here in Rock Hill. Big crowd in the championship game, and a lot of momentum going into the NCAA tournament.
Follow all the tournament coverage at winthropeagles.com.